Well, thank you everybody for coming out on this cold and snowy day. But as I was reflecting on this address today, I thought, man, it's kind of crazy. It was 8 years ago I presented my first mayor speak here. I was actually a council member at that time, and I still remember had my first meeting on Monday, and then they said, well, you're going to do the speech. So I had to get quite up to speed on everything that happened over the city the past year. And so sat down under the table up here in front and, kind of a little nervous, shuffling through my notes. And Mayor Stephenson looks over at me and goes, how you doing? I said, well, just trying to get up to speed here. And he goes, don't worry, Osseo's last. We'll give you about 2 minutes. Go tell a couple of bad jokes like your former mayor did. And really don't talk about anything. So hopefully we got a little bit more to talk about today than we did back in those days. So appreciate us not being last and actually getting more than a couple of minutes to talk about what's going on in Osseo. We're pretty proud of what's going on in Osseo, and hopefully if you haven't had a chance to go through town, hopefully you can see the activities and what we've got going on there. The biggest thing that, we're most proud of really is the sound financial management that we've had. This year marks the 5th straight year that we've lowered the local tax rate. And that started a number of years ago, and just a really big thanks to the councils, that we're on, and then the current council, really making those tough decisions that you have to make in a small community to put ourselves in good financial position, because things back in the day, really weren't that good. If you look back, we were an A minus, and then now our bond rating's a double A minus, so we've moved up a few ticks there. So that's been a lot of tough decision, and I also want to just really thank the staff and the department heads. As we go through the budget process every year, it's no longer, well, we got to keep in the budget, because if we don't, then the money's gone next year. We've really tasked them and really challenged them, what do you need this year to be effective, and how can we move things forward while still being effective in the way we use the money in the city. So that's one thing I really got to commend the staff, and the department heads are really effective on their budgeting and what they need, and knowing that if they don't have in the budget this year and they need it next year, and they've got a good business case for it, then we can find a way to accomplish those goals. And also we're going through a big utility rate study next year. And what that does is, again, if you rewind the clock back in the day, when we kind of first got there, our sanitary or storm and our water funds were all negative or have next to no money in there. We had to make the hard decisions to increase rates over a number of years to be able to get those utilities where they needed to be. And that allows us to, as we are doing future street projects, be able to make sure that there's enough money in those accounts to actually pay for the bonds, and then maybe in the future using some of those funds just to pay for the improvements just outright, rather than increasing our bond issuance to cover those. So that, that's been a big step. Is just, really the planning and the foresight on that it takes to be able to accomplish a lot of this that frankly we never had. And then of course the finance system update, they're really excited about that, because just last year we got rid of our rotary dial phones and our thermal fax machines. So now we're actually got a computer system and that works. So now they're going to be able to update that so people can pay their bills online. So we're kind of moving in the right direction. And also the street and alley improvement projects, those will continue next year. This is another big focus that we've had, is just continue to improve the infrastructure of the city. And that's just not at the roads, but what's under the roads, and really taking a proactive approach of what really needs to be done today and what can be put off in the future. Because it started back in 2013. We really made the decision that over the next 9 years, every road in the city is going to get touched. And at that time, obviously you saw Central Avenue that got done, but the local residential roads, they hadn't been touched since the early 90s. And they were in pretty bad shape. A lot of pothole repairs and patching, and they were just terrible. So we really made a conscious effort to say, over the next 9 years, what does it look like, and how can we accomplish these? And for us, we have to balance the size of the project along with what we can afford, and the burden that we place on our residents each year. So that's really kind of our struggle right there. So in 2016, we milled and overlaid half the city to extend those roads. And with that, those were designated that the subsystems with the storm and the water and the sanitary didn't need to be touched, so we're able to just mill and overlays, extend the life of those as we do the other projects, which include some sort of underground work on those. So, and of course, the comprehensive plan update, it's really a monumental task for a small community. It's really taxing on the staff and our consultants, because we just don't have a whole lot of people, and there's a whole lot of information that goes into this. So I just want to really thank our planner, Nancy Apps, and we had an 18-member steering committee that has put a lot of time and a lot of effort into this, and be able to present it to the Met Council for approval. Currently, the preliminary council approval will happen in February, and then from that point it goes out to the adjacent communities and affected jurisdictions around to be able, and they have up to 6 months, so hopefully Brooklyn Park and Maple Grove don't take 6 months to review the plan and get back to us. But so we'll have that done and on time, but that's been a big Herculean lift for a lot of our staff, so that'll free up a lot of time once we have that done. So we're excited to get that behind us. And of course, everyone wants to know about what's going on with the water tower. It was on the National Historic Places back in June, and what that does is, it allows us to get some additional grant funding. So currently we're underway trying to get an assessment grant to understand what exactly needs to be done to have the tower continue to stand. It's over 100 years old, so there does need some maintenance, some painting. And then we've talked, what do we do with it, and really kind of turn it into kind of an icon, the showpiece of the city, whether it's light it, paint it, parking. I mean, there's a whole lot of different things that we can do with it. But I mean, as you see, it's kind of in our logo, and for a lot of people, it's kind of their wayfinding sign. They said, I know I'm home when I see the Osseo water tower, whether it's Brooklyn Park or Osseo or Maple Grove. It's kind of stood there for a long time, and I don't know if anyone would know if it was noon or 6 o'clock if you didn't have that whistle blowing every night. So, and then one thing, if you've driven up and down 81, you saw the Osseo Gateway sign, and if you remember, it's kind of right off Central Avenue and Highway 81. It was the old. Some of you rewind the clock at the old Osseo jail site. If that was kind of the old Barney Fife jail in there with the big skeleton key in the ring. But so that's been long tore down, and it's been kind of vacant, just kind of dirt there. And so we really kind of as the entry point of the city, we said we really need to do something and address community events and stuff. So we're able to, a lot of assistance from a lot of business, civic groups in town and individuals. We'll put the money into this and put this sign in place. And it's really dressed up the corner. And what's nice is that, any business or event that's located in Osseo, they can advertise in the sign just for $100 a week. So it just continues to flip with the activities and what's going on in there. So it's been a great win for our community. Of course, one thing we're still working on is the Boer Boom Park expansion. That's the park with the Veterans Memorial in it. It's right across from City Hall, and right now it's kind of a half a city block. What we've done is there's 4 homes on the eastern half of that. We've acquired, from the city's perspective, 3 homes. We're waiting for the last home, and she's been a long time planning commission member, so whenever you decide to pull the plug, we'll buy your home from you. So we're just kind of waiting for that, and then kind of really what it'll develop is just kind of a sense of place in the city, and really develop that gathering point that everybody can gather around for. We do have a lot of community events and things that we'll touch on later, and kind of give you that kind of Norman Rockwell feel of downtown, really kind of put that centerpiece that's in there. So, but we're looking forward to that, and we've looked at a lot of different plans and really trying to incorporate a lot of different aspects into that. So again, it can be used for a lot of different community events. Also, our Nights in Unite this year, we're trying to do something different. We typically have anywhere from 8 to 10 block parties throughout town, and what this year is, we're trying to take that and then expand that, really kind of have a community-wide celebration and have that, to really, so everybody kind of knows everybody. It's beyond just kind of their their block and what they're looking at. You know, it seems like everybody in Osseo knows everybody and knows what's going on. Sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's not so good, depending on your situation. But yeah, so that's something new. So we're just coordinating with all kind of the block captains right now and trying to make it into a bigger event and really kind of showcase the city and then also just the residents and what's going on. And then this is one interesting thing, you know, it's kind of in response to the changing demographics in Osseo. I mean, we've had senior programs in Osseo for a number of years, but this is the first time that we've offered youth rec classes during the daytime in quite a while. You know, I mean, way back in the day, Osseo ran all the sports and rec programs for the area, and then everybody kind of took over their own programs in the various cities. But so this kind of shows the changeover, and this was really a need that, you know, we had in the city and wanted to address it for, you know, just those people. So, and of course, the Healthier Communities Project, you know, I think a lot of people have participated in that, you know, with the Hennepin County creating healthier communities. It's just kind of creating an environment for, you know, healthier living and lifestyle. And one thing is, you know, we won the award as the most engaged community in the county's Step to It Challenge. So that was, really got to give a thanks to the lady there in green in the picture there, Dee Bond. She did a great job really coordinating, getting people excited about that. And kind of the most engaged community award, what that was based on is the highest percentage of participation based on population. So we had quite a number of people that were involved in the Step to It Challenge and logged a few miles. So appreciate all the work that everybody did with that. And of course, tie in with that, kind of creating healthier communities. This year we have a Osseo Orchard. And what we did was, where that's located is right south of our public works, kind of the east side of town, right behind the sound wall of 169. Kind of this triangle piece of land that was kind of worthless. And we were able to do, you know, the food group, Fruit Tree Planting Foundation, and Vitafusion sponsored and bought all of the fruit trees and the berries. So we had a fruit tree planting. So we have cherry, apple, pear, plum trees that'll mature in 3 to 4 years, and then the berries we had blueberries, currants, and then those should be hopefully available this year. But what it is, it's just an open orchard and allow people from the community access to fresh fruits. And so people will be able to go there and just pick them as you want and bring them home, or just out for your nightly walk, stop by, grab an apple, and kind of keep going. So just another kind of unique feature that we have in Osseo. In regards to development, you know, we've done a lot of development projects over the last few years, and you know, we're always continue to look for more. You know, and this one that we've designated as the North Central Redevelopment Site, and it's kind of right on the north end of Main Street, Central Avenue, and 93rd is the street you see going across. So just across the street from that is St. Vincent's, to give you a frame of reference. And what that is we're looking possible two-phase, and if you look at that, the two different phases there, it's roughly about the same size that 5 Central was. And then the significant, to have the impact of 5 Central and duplicate that here. 5 Central, just to give you just a frame of reference, if what that did to Osseo, it's 140 unit apartments. So I mean, not a super big apartment by any means, but once that was built, occupied, that changed the population by Osseo 10%. So you have 10% more people in town. So I mean, that's, you take that and duplicate that anywhere else, I mean, it's a significant population shift. A lot of the businesses have seen more traffic up and down. And I think the bigger thing, if you look at it, if you took the whole block, which is similar to this size, where 5 Central was, if you looked at the tax value prior to that building being there, was about $800,000 tax value of all the parcels. And right now it's assessed at $23 million. So I mean, that goes to show you proper redevelopment and what that can do. And I mean, ultimately, you know, inside of that, we're able to do some infrastructure and other things that we didn't have to assess for. So again, we're trying to duplicate something like that up here to again increase the tax value of the city, taking the burden, you know, rather than continuing to raise taxes, finding ways to do things. And of course, elections this year. You know, we got mayor and 2 council seats open. So you'll be seeing all of that coming up this fall. And then again, just kind of our listing of our events, you know, kind of the small town with a whole bunch of big events going on. We always seem to be, everyone else says, man, for a little town, you got a lot of stuff going on. You know, I guess we like to have a good time and get out and meet the neighbors. So, I mean, if you see here, I mean, we've got stuff going, you know, from spring to fall. So come on, check it out. You know, as kind of the website says, you know, come discover Osseo. We've got a lot going on. So appreciate everybody, and thank you for your time.